Hey everybody, Todd Crandell, the original sober triathlete, bringing another Racing for Recovery podcast. I have Miss Kelly with me today, who we were talking about this. You've been with us for just under 3 years, is that right?
Yeah. I started here on December 1st of 22. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we have a lot to discuss today. I don't give pre-interview questions, so we just let it rip.
Okay.
My first thing I want to ask you is, tell us how it feels to be sitting in that chair right now.
I would say that probably this is something I never would have imagined, ever. Being in front of a camera, talking live about being here and how it's changed my life. This is something I would have never imagined. Walking this door, I didn't know what was coming at all. But this is like, I don't want to say a dream come true because it's not something that I dreamed about. It is very unexpected and very exhilarating, empowering. Empowering is a very good word.
It is. So I want to follow on that and ask you, do you remember, I remember where you were sitting in the support group meeting. You always sat to my right against the wall. But there was a moment on a Thursday where you said, someday you will be sitting up at the table being involved in that live stream. Can you go back to that moment and talk about like what made you say that, how you felt when you said that? What were you envisioning that then we can parlay that into what we're talking about now as well?
I think at some point I had enough confidence to know I was in the right place and I was going to be okay. I think that I had learned enough, gotten enough from being here that I knew at some point I was going to be okay and desperately wanted to share what I had gotten from here. This place, as I've said numerous times, and never want to sound like a commercial, has completely changed my life, my family's life, and I wanted more than anything to sit up there and share it and want other people to understand what is here, what is offered here, and give other people the opportunity straight out of my mouth what it has done.
Okay. When you said I was okay and I was going to be okay, I want to do two things. We're going to talk about why you weren't okay and go back, because I want to talk to you actually about when you were an elementary student, a middle high student, a high school student. But when staying presently or in the recent present, when you were saying I was going to be okay, what does okay mean?
An understanding of why I had became grown into what I was. An understanding of not just the phrase that I used for years, well, of course I drink. My mom and dad drank. Of course I was going to be an alcoholic. It came in my blood. Understood exactly why I had turned to that, not use the excuse, more of the mental health, the trauma, that was the work. It wasn't necessarily the stopping of the drinking that was the work. It was, wow, this is so much more here. And so understanding the reasons behind it and every week learning more, especially with Amanda, being able to finally start to dig, I knew that I was going to be okay. I knew I was changing my mindset. I knew when I was stepping in the wrong directions, I could catch myself and understand as to why and correct it.
Okay, I know what I'm doing when I'm doing these. So it may seem we're going all over the place. We're not. It's a succinct pattern. You just brought up Amanda. Who is Amanda to you? For somebody who's listening to this right now and they're like, well, who's Amanda? Who is Amanda, and why have her words helped you to speak the words you're speaking today?
Amanda is a counselor here. Mental health counselor. I was very blessed to get Amanda when I first came through the doors. I had some therapists previous to coming here, wonderful ladies, but never got through to me like Amanda did. Amanda wore light gloves for a while with me until she just didn't anymore. And it was a matter of, okay, Kelly, you've done enough around this, tiptoeing around it. Let's really do the work, and no more BS. That's what got through to me. Amanda brought things out of me that I didn't even know were there, that I had never said out loud before. She made me feel like it was okay all the time to feel how I felt. I could justify how I felt, helped me understand why I felt those things, and then what was I going to do about it, and gave it to me.
So when you talk about going back to you wanted to be up there, Amanda did receive services here, as you know.
I
so
do.
Then you're getting it from her. And then when you're sitting in that meeting and going, I want to be up there someday, are you now seeing that that's exactly what you're doing for others?
I want to. That's what I want to do. And it's just my story that I want to share. I want to reach out to the people that think that it's okay just to keep on living the way that they're living, drinking every night, going to work every day, not really having the life, bearing some things that maybe childhood or whatever traumas it might be, or not realizing what can be offered here. I want them to reach out and just try it. Just try it, that's all. Because, again, it was everything to me. And I had no idea the story of how I got here is another story. But I had no idea walking through here what it was going to be. And every single person that I've crossed paths with since I've been here has affected me in one way or another, whether it's shown me what I want to be, how I can handle myself differently, or what I don't want to be. Everybody has affected me here. Amanda has helped me to change my entire mindset, my entire way of living my life, and knowing that I can be happy. I'm really the happiest I've been in most all of my life.
Okay, when you were talking about your story, I want to go back to the beginning of that, and you can share what you want, don't want. This is not a counseling session, if you will, kind of. But I'm interested in the backstory of how you ended up here. You did mention alcoholic parents. I'm interested in the feelings that you had as a kid because of what you were enduring. And I think of some of the conversations we had. I know you were a good student. Yeah. I joked with you, you were the one that brought the apple in for the teacher.
Oh, yeah.
And that's pulling the good out of you that was there then that now is coming out. But give us what happened, what that was like. What are the feelings that you had when you were a young kid?
First of all, I have to say that most of my childhood, I just thought that's the way it was supposed to be. I didn't know it was any different. I thought my life is the way it was supposed to be. I did not know my parents together, so I didn't know any different there. Both of them being alcoholics. My father was absent for the majority of my childhood, would jump in very rarely. My mother did what she could to raise us, which at times included shoplifting food. I never went hungry by any means, but we didn't have any extras. I right away was the caretaker, and it's just what I did. I didn't think anything more about it. I became responsible. I had a younger sister, about just over 2 years apart, and I became the caretaker. It was like a schedule. When I was young, my mom would work one day, and she would drink the next. I knew when to bring friends home, which was very rare, but I knew what days I could and what days I couldn't because it was just a schedule. That's the way it went. And when she did drink, I knew the bar across the street's number by heart if I needed her, and I took care of my sister. Whatever needed to be done, I was the caretaker, and I just felt that was the way it was supposed to be. I didn't feel like an extra responsibility. It's just the way it was supposed to be. I have very many memories of just me and my sister all the time. When I went to school, not realizing what I was looking for, I always did the above and beyond. I always strived to do the extra credit. I always strived to raise my hand more. As you say, bring the apple into the teacher. I was the one looking for the pat on the back, not realizing at that time that it was looking for some extra attention, looking for something I wasn't getting at home, but I didn't realize that at that time. I didn't know. I was the one that would be in all the plays and look at me up on stage, things like that. Always was like that. Was the president of the security guards that helped you to cross the street when you were in school at the corners. I ran the office back when I was 12 years old. I did above and beyond looking for more, but at that time I didn't know what I was looking for. I just thought that was the way everybody lived. I didn't know.
That's powerful. How are some of those, and they're good attributes, do you have any of those same thoughts or emotions that are going on currently? And I'm not saying, let me rephrase that. I'm not looking for, I'm still screwed up. That's not what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. I'm saying do you see that those qualities then, do you still have them now? And how are they now that you're healing from them, understanding them, that now they're enhanced assets? Because there's nothing wrong with what you were doing. I'm looking for where the growth is, that now you're like, hey, these are good qualities to have in a different environment that is conducive to my self-betterment.
Ironically, I was just having a discussion with Matt before we started here. Because I was always the caretaker, because I always went above and beyond, because I always wanted to do the extra, I have always done that in my life and been a people pleaser and reached out to do more. The difference now, I learned coming through here, was right away I jumped in to help everywhere I could. And with time was helping to lead some of like the women's support groups, doing the van when we would go to the food bank, whatever it be. I would step up to do the extra stuff. At some point, I needed to find the humility to realize that it could survive without me, because I was walking around with, hey, look at this. They couldn't survive without me. It wouldn't go on if I wasn't here. I find myself at my job now going above and beyond, worrying about somebody's calling off, who's going to cover it. Somebody's sick, somebody quit, I better jump in and take care of this. Almost like taking over like a managerial position, which is not my job. I like to help out, but I have to step back and say, they're going to survive without me. I don't have to lose sleep over this. So the difference now is I realize that if I have to walk away, everything's going to be okay, and I don't have to give everything that I have to everything that I do.
I hear boundaries, the clinical term in recovery. I hear boundaries, but actually I hear self-esteem, self-respect, dignity, pride. You concur with that? Do you see that?
And it's all new. Those are all new to me. The self-respect, definitely. The boundaries is something that feels so good now. And it was something that even being newly employed, been there about a year, that I had a discussion with a general manager on, both by email and in person, within a couple of weeks, that my boundaries are, I will not work Sundays. I will not work when I have my grandson. You know that he's the most important part of my life. And that I expect communication the way that I will give it. It's something that I did not know how to do when I walked through these doors. You may remember I wasn't a good communicator. I would get very upset, would speak loudly. And now I think communication is the key. And it's not just about communicating. It's about helping others to understand what you're communicating. And I make it very clear with my employment or with any relationships now. I expect communication, and I will give it in a respectful way always. But I don't stand for disrespect ever anymore, because I don't deserve it. You can speak to me. And speak to me in a good manner. So, yeah, it's boundaries that I've used. I've never had boundaries before. Didn't even know what that meant. And I do now, and it feels, I feel very proud, very proud.
Do you going back to your younger years, and I'm looking at like adolescence and early adulthood, do you feel a lack of boundaries that your caretaking kindness attributes were taken advantage of, disrespected, they weren't utilized the way you were intending that caregiving to be utilized?
100%. I can, I can connect it to being taken advantage of constantly. When it came to caretaking of people's children a lot, because I was really big on that, helping people out with babysitting, raising their children, and being taken advantage of where they would be dropped off and didn't know when people were coming back, both with family members and with friends that had children younger than me. I waited. Another thing that was more my fault than anyone else's, and I've brought it up before in groups, and it's something that I just I don't want to say I'm not ashamed of them anymore. I understand why now. In high school, I can remember thinking that being physical with young men was going to help them to fall in love with me, so that I could be taken out of the situation that I was in. So I was taken advantage of a lot in that case. And I'm not ashamed of it now. I realize why I was more like that now. So yeah, that definitely happened. When I was in high school, that was a period that I'm not proud of, but now I understand why.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Crystal clear. Did you learn that by going through Racing for Recovery? Did that help you understand and learn about all that?
Absolutely. I was just more non-verbal about it and more ashamed of it. Now I understand why things like that happened.
I'm proud of you for saying that. I wasn't expecting that. My intent was, and you never know how these are going to go, my intent was to get you to do what I'm going to ask you now. Not that what you just said wasn't great and powerful, because it was. I asked you that, and when you started talking about, having parents drop their kids off, and you were recognizing those kids in your own situation, and we're just trying to be the caretaker in that, right? And do you now see the kindness of that more as an adult than you probably did when you were actually doing it?
I think so. Kindness is something I have always had. Kindness is something that I have always taught my daughters. And though they're on different paths in their lives, it's something that they both live their life with, is kindness. And it makes me very proud. When it comes to children, it's something that has always been dear to my heart. And now, with a lot more that I've learned here, the education that I've gotten here, I feel strongly if we could start when they were younger with this. I've made that very clear. I've been blessed to have my grandson here with me for the whole time I've been here. A lot more when I first got here, when he was young, and with his situation growing up. This makes me feel confident that he's going to be okay even with the rough start that he has. And I really wish that a lot of children had some of the teachings that we have here about it's okay to feel the way you feel. It's okay to have boundaries at a young age. It's okay to express your emotions in the right way. For a 6.5-year-old, he's amazing. And I think if we started younger, a lot of us wouldn't be in the situations we grew into.
It's half of our mission is to prevent this from happening in kids. It's so... I'm not the brain surgeon of all this, but it's like pretty common sense. We're focusing on serving people after the effect, which isn't bad. But I'm like, shouldn't we be putting more money and resources into preventing it in the first place? Because every one of us was that kid. And
Amen.
It's like, but that's what we do here, which is great. You mentioned kindness. When did you realize that the pain you were feeling emotionally, that you started being unkind to yourself?
I don't think I realized it until I was here.
Oh.
I don't think so. I had heard many times, especially as I was getting older, about if you don't slow down and take care of you, you can't take care of everybody else. I didn't see that happening. I just always took care of everyone else, always put everyone else first, to the detriment of my mental health, my physical health. I just said, you can go a little bit longer. It's what I always did. And I don't think, even with people telling me, slow down, take care of you, until I came here, I don't think I realized. I thought it was selfish.
Now, how do you see it?
I think it's okay to be a little selfish. You can still use the same word, but it shouldn't have the bad meaning that it has. You should be selfish sometimes. You should treat yourself like you would treat others. It's something I've learned here. And when I have to stop for a second and think about it, it's like, hey, those bad words that you're putting in your head, that I think we all do sometimes still, I have to stop and say, would you ever speak to somebody else like that? Because I don't ever anymore, even if I did have some bad times before where I wasn't as kind, but I don't ever anymore. I stop and I think about it. I don't speak to people like that, and I try hard not to speak to myself like that. And I try hard to take breaks, and I try hard to say no when I need to say no.
Is it selfish or self-care? As I grab a drink.
Definitely self-care, which I still struggle with, to be honest. The whole self-care. Because when I think of self-care, I'm thinking of the physical self-care. Lay around, take a bath, do your nails, that kind of stuff. I'm bad at that kind of stuff. But my self-care is more like what we said with the boundaries, expecting the communication, taking time to just be happy and do some things that I want to do. That's more self-care to me, in my viewpoint. So I think... yeah, self-care is probably a better word than selfish, but I don't feel bad using selfish sometimes. I really don't.
Do you talk about self-care more? How are you doing it in ways that you didn't think were self-care before? You mentioned, I think, giving yourself a bath or whatever. Is that self-care that's okay?
Oh, it's definitely okay. Yeah. It's just not something that I do as often. My self-care is going over to Planet Fitness and getting massages. I do that very often. My self-care is learning to be okay to be alone. It's something that I have struggled with before, and now I can enjoy some time alone. And I'm a social person. You know that. I like to be around people. I like to talk to people. I like to get to know people. So I also don't beat myself up for when I just want to be around people, because it isn't a matter of escaping the loneliness or being alone. It's what I enjoy to do. So I don't beat myself up over that. I enjoy walks. I absolutely love to just take walks. It makes me extremely happy. Laying in my bed sometimes with the television off. I love music, that kind of a stuff. That's more of self-care for me. And the saying no sometimes. Being able to just say, no, that's not what I want to do. Or no, I'm not going to come in for this shift. I'm sorry, I'm not available. To me, that's self-care, because I would never say no before.
Wow. You mentioned being outside and going for walks. How has nature played a role in, I don't like saying mental health, mental wellness, your overall well-being? How is being outside and just getting some exercise and embracing nature, how's that been helping you?
Nature has always been something that has just changed a mood for me. And it does, just to be outside and take a deep breath. And I do it. I have said the walks from the suites to the center changed for me over the couple of years that I was here. They slowed down. They paid more attention to the clouds in the sky, the birds that were singing, the wind that blows. I can remember a couple of years ago being with my grandson. My middle grandson is autistic, and I can remember taking him for a walk at my daughter's house. And all of a sudden, he just sat down in the middle of the sidewalk and just was looking around and paying attention to just what was around him. The wind was blowing. It was a beautiful day. And I just sat down in the middle of the sidewalk with him, and we sat there for a good 20 minutes and just enjoying the nature. And it's one of the connections that I've had with him that I will never, ever forget. And I think that kind of changed me also in realizing how much it completely can just change the mood just being out in the nature and being quiet for a minute can change an entire mood for me.
You know what I love about this? I don't know how we're talking over a half hour or whatever right now. Not one mention of how much you drank, not one mention of how many car crashes you had, not one mention of it. So I want people to understand this. At Racing for Recovery, this conversation is what sobriety is about. Because I'm sure, well, I don't want to say that. I can wonder people watching this right now and going, this is a sober podcast, I don't hear any war stories. Exactly. This is what we want people to have, is what you're talking about. Can you ever imagine when you were drinking, describing that moment with your grandson right there?
I can't imagine where I am right now. I've never could have imagined where I am right now. I never thought there was going to be a way out of where I was. And like I said, I never imagined that it was not just the drinking, that it was the mental health. I never imagined any of this in a million years. And I just cannot say how grateful I am, not just for myself, but for my grandson.
This is where I am going to come back to drinking stuff. You went to, I'm sure they won't mind it, you were at Arrowhead.
I was.
Here in Northwest Ohio. Great
Yes.
facility. We appreciate our relationship with them. You were in there when you heard about Racing for Recovery, if I'm not mistaken. Can you talk about how, let me say this, how I see when people make the change. You coming here is a sign of self-care. Whether most people see it or not,
Right.
when they walk in, that's someone that's saying, hey, there's a part of me that wants some help because there's value in there. When you first heard about us and came in the first time, can you give the audience an idea of what you were thinking, feeling, expecting, all of that?
Well, I had known of you for my first round with Arrowhead, which was like 4 years previous to me coming the second time. I had went through their outpatient after being there, and part of the services was to go to meetings. And I came here for a meeting on a Thursday night, the live meetings. So that's been probably 7 years ago at this point. Wow. Something clicked immediately when I came here on a Thursday night. You did all of the meetings back then, standing room only. We didn't even have dinners back then when I first started coming here. I randomly still came here even when I did go back to drinking. I would randomly just come here on Thursdays. The second time I went into Arrowhead, I knew there was no way that I needed to go home. I knew I wasn't going to do this alone. And it was one of those meant-to-be moments that I ended up here. And it was me suggesting, hey, I remember this place. Do they have, where I can stay and inpatient? And made a phone call, and I was here within days. When I first came here, I had no idea what to expect, and I was a shit show.
Sorry.
I share a memory with your daughter of that first day. That I didn't even recall, to be honest with you. And it's something that we laugh about to this day. I didn't know what to expect. I was not myself. I wasn't extraordinarily kind. I was cranky. And when I got put into living, I was alone, and I didn't know what to do. And when I had over here for the first morning, I didn't know how to get from the suites to here. I was a mess. I had no idea what was going on. And I walked through the doors, hit up the gym, had no idea what was going on there. I was clueless to everything. And then when the meetings started, and the very first Saturday that I came here for the Community Connections is the new name on a Saturday, Amanda and Adam were here running it. No offense to anyone else to this day, but nobody runs a Saturday like Amanda. And I spent that first 2.5 hours there with her and at the Saturday and seeing the families and seeing what this was really about. And I knew I was in the right place immediately. Wow. That's what changed everything for me. And I say it to this day. I knew I was in the right place. And from there, I got comfortable. I found, quote, my people. Not that, you know me, I interact with everyone, but I found comfortable with some people. And from there, I just found my path. I have said numerous times that this place might not be exactly what everybody thought they were looking for, but what I like is the different paths that you can take. Not everybody has to do the exact same thing. There's so many things that are offered. The only thing I ever said was, try everything once. Please just try it once. Some of the things that I never thought I would be interested in, I became interested in. And there's so many different routes to go once you get here. It worked for me.
Wow, I love talking to you like this. It's great. I don't know all the details of that conversation with my daughter, Skylar, if somebody watching doesn't know who Skylar is, but wasn't there a part of this that she basically said something to the effect of like, well, if you don't want your life to be bad or you want a family, stop drinking? Was it something like that kind of rocked you a little bit in that first conversation? And the reason I'm asking you is this. When she started working here, she's never had a drug or alcohol problem. And she was worried. She's like, Dad, how am I going to relate to these people? And I said, well, isn't everybody coming in here to learn how to not do drugs or alcohol? I said, you're an expert in that because you've never done them. And again, it's back to those war stories that mean nothing. That's not helping somebody just sharing a war story. What's actually helping somebody is show them you don't have to have any more war stories. And I had thought that maybe I'm wrong, and that's okay, that she had said something to the effect of you about if you want to be your best, that's about not drinking, and that had resonated with you.
It necessarily wasn't the conversation, though. Let me say that the way that I look at Skylar connecting with us is what I see both sides of for my life. I had parents that were alcoholics, but they never got well like her father did. So I've been on both sides, growing up that way and being that way, and now I love the side where I'm at now. So I think maybe I could connect with her in kind of a different way where we both had parents that were alcoholics. Even though she knew you in a different way, it was still something she knew that you had done. So I had that connection with her. Plus, she has a sense of humor similar to yours. And I did not recall the story until being here for months. And she said, when you first came in, you seemed like this sweet grandma type of lady. She said, and I go to take you over to housing. And she said, you walk out the door and you're like, birds, effing birds. Why are they so loud? So to this day, every now and then she'll just say, those effing birds are so loud. And we just laugh about it. And then I really grew to adore her and how we would go to hot room. She would kick my ass at hot room, and I would thank her every single time. I feel more healthy. I feel more secure about my physical appearance than I ever have in my entire life. That's something that came from here, obviously, and she has been there throughout the couple of years to assist with that. She's an amazing girl, as if you don't know.
Good answer. Yes, she is. She's okay.
She's your favorite.
She's my third favorite kid. You know, part of why I don't mind talking about this is Racing for Recovery, as you know, and I want people to know, is we're the first program that incorporated families in this. And now I'm asking this because you're seeing that connection from the parental side. You're an awesome grandmother because you are doing well. And I know you've commented on some of the things you've learned about my relationship with my grandma, that now you're taking your own attributes and making it a great relationship with your own grandkids. Has the family aspect of what we do here, you mentioned Saturday family night, how important was that to you to really have, education or knowledge or experiences in your recovery that's made you who you are today?
It was everything. It was absolutely everything. At the time that I came here, my grandson had lived with me for almost 4 years. We were very close, like you and your grandmother are. I think that's something that maybe we connect on, you and I. And for him to be able to come here and spend weekends with me, to sleep in Grandma's bed like he used to do, to come here on Saturday nights and on Sundays and have other families here with other kids. He still remembers to this day, though we haven't been around in a month or two. Adam and Amanda's niece and nephew that come, he still talks about them all the time. He remembers all the games we've played, the Easters we've had here, the Christmases, the trick-or-treats we've had here. It was everything to me to have him. And then also my oldest daughter comes to Thursday nights with me. She's had her children over here. We did Halloween last year here. I know you've met her. She also is a mental health therapist. Loves everything that we do. Heather, the family aspect was everything to me. I don't want to say that I don't know if it would have been the same for me, but I don't think it would have if it wouldn't have included the families and if my grandson couldn't have been here with me as much as he was.
Do you think your daughter becoming the professional she is had something to do with when you weren't your best, that now she is seeing you at your best enhances her work in the field?
1,000.
Yeah.
1,000%. And she works with only children.
Interesting.
Yeah. And she just, she is not only my daughter, she's my biggest inspiration, to be honest. Her and her husband are my biggest inspiration. I could not be more proud, and it's so great to be able to sit and talk with her and be who I am and her to understand, and she still helps me. But she understands everything I bring home from here. She's very impressed.
I keep thinking, I keep putting this out to the universe, if you will, because I believe in you speak it until it happens. I know we will do something with kids. And I'm saying it, even hoping your daughter comes to me at some point and says, hey, we can do ... because there's more of that that's been happening. A couple of weeks ago, I think I said it in the live stream about a couple of families were in there, and I'm like, yeah, I can feel that part of what we've been doing since 2001 needs to happen on more of a level, because how many kids feel the way you did, thousands of them out there just locally, and we want to do something about it. So me saying this right now is just another thing of like, let's make that happen. Let's talk about the Racing for Recovery curriculum for a minute. I don't think I've asked anybody this, so I'm very interested in what is it about our information? One of our books, information in one of those books. What are we doing curriculum-wise here that really resonated with you, that you utilized?
I have to say, for me, the More Than One Way to Get to Cleveland was a point where I knew that there were other people here that actually understood, because they were in the exact same place I was. When I read that, to know what your life was, I looked at you completely different. People walking through the door that say, oh my gosh, he's actually here, I can't believe he's here, that kind of a stuff. When I read your book, I was like, okay, he does get it. He was where I was, different but same. And other people working here, most of them were where I was. So that made a difference, changed my mindset about addiction, drinking per se. I thought that I was a non-judgmental person walking through the door. I didn't realize how judgmental I was until I came here and seen all the different levels, and knew we were all in the same place. It didn't matter what what your hang up was, your addiction was, your drinking was. We were all in the same place. We're all going the same place. And then the curriculum on the mental health, the emotional health, for me personally changed everything. That it was okay to feel the way that you're feeling, to understand why you're feeling it, and then, okay, what are we going to do with it now?
Would you say in that you just shared, there's a message of equality for people?
1,000%. I can remember saying at one point that I felt like my story couldn't match others. I had been blessed, per se, as to not have lived on the street, not to have been physically abused in any way. That, oh my gosh, I felt bad talking about my story. And then I had to learn that everybody's trauma affects everyone differently. That something that might seem like a huge trauma to someone else might not have affected them, or a small trauma might have affected them. So I learned here that trauma is trauma, no matter how small, no matter how big. We were all in the same place, and we had some sort of a trauma, and it affected us. And it didn't matter if mine was emotional and somebody's was physical. We all were equal in where we came. And it doesn't matter if you were drinking or if you were putting a needle in your arm. We all were in the same place. I can remember getting upset when I was here, when people, not necessarily workers here, but more so some of the other clients, would say, hey, what is your DOC? What are you here for? Things like that. And I can remember a few of them saying to me, oh, you just drink? And I would say, yeah, I just drank until I lost my house and my job and my family, and I burned every effing thing to the ground. But that's all I did. I just drank.
That's
so
powerful.
It was a matter of realizing we all were on the same place. We were all equal.
Do you think we're all equal in the opportunity to better ourselves here too?
1,000, and that's what I say all the time. You don't have to do everything, and you don't have to do what I did, and you don't have to do what my roommate did, and you can find your path here. And what I like also here is the open-mindedness, if you're respectful about it, and changing mindsets and asking for something to be added. Or maybe a different aspect on, hey, could we do a religion class at 4 o'clock in one of these rooms? And it's yes. Hey, can we go play volleyball downtown? Hey, can we, whatever it be, the open-mindedness here to help people feel comfortable, to steer them in the right direction, it's here. So
I'm laughing because I'm going to go back to the one sober Saturday family fun night. Try saying that 1,000 times.
Oh, I know where you're going.
Yeah, right? When we played, what is it, Cards Against Humanity?
Yes. Oh, my gosh.
You just talk about having an open mind of doing things that really, the conversations we all had on a therapeutic level that day were resounding. And I remember I said to you, I'm like, should I be sitting in here right now with this stuff? I had never played that game. That was hilarious.
It was absolutely hilarious. I don't know how many people listening know Cards Against Humanity, but it gets pretty raw on all different levels. It's very disrespectful, but you know what? It was a time to laugh, and it was a time that we discussed some things too. Didn't get real deep, but it was a matter of, again, connecting.
Exactly. And I know someone could say, oh my God, they're just playing card game. Just hang on a minute, because as you said, we turned that into some type of mental wellness thing, and the bonding that was going on and people sharing some experiences that led to,
yes.
That's what it's for. So again, being an eclectic agency, we use anything and can turn anything into something that's worthwhile.
And you know what? I have found that, to me, connections are everything, being the social person that I am. And those are the times that you make a connection that you remember. Like I've said to you, some of the stories you've told, I will always remember because of a connection. It's just stuff that I remember. How you came up with a name for Racing for Recovery, the stories with your grandma, the stories of some of the traumas you went through even after getting clean, with losing your house, with losing your van when you were at the hockey rink. All those things I remember, and the connections. I do the same thing with about every person that I have sat through with a group, about every family member that I've sat and played board games with, Family Feud with, whatever it be on a Saturday night. It's something that personally I will remember and connect with them. And it doesn't matter if I see them at Walmart 2 years from now. I'll be like, do you remember that time? Connections are everything to me, and I think it doesn't only make me feel happy and smile, it also, I hope, makes someone feel remembered, important.
Speaking the way you are, do you ever look back, and you might even be doing it now, at your former self with grace, compassion, and understanding? Are those thoughts that you ever have towards who you used to be?
It's difficult because I think of the people that I hurt along the way. So I have to go back even farther and remember the hurt that I received.
Yep.
So I do, but it's not always easy.
Do you have empathy and understanding and compassion for those that were around you that may not have been their best when they were around you now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My father is one of them. My father now is in a home. He's older. I lost my mom, unfortunately. And it was a rough road getting to understanding, forgiveness, compassion for my father. Not just for the drinking, but for more so his personality, the way I was raised or not raised by him. And it was what I learned here about how he was raised that I had to stop and take a breath and go, now I get it.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's the future look like for you?
It looks bright. I can tell you that. I have some big changes coming family-wise. The daughter that I've been talking about, who I'm closest to, her and her family right now are making a big move. It is going to be something that when I walk through the door, that has always stuck in my head about we are not immune to life's hardships. It's something that I felt when I could live that I was going to be okay. When I could have the bumps in the road and not spin out of control, that I was going to be okay. It's something that stuck with me from probably week one. They're going to be moving about 2 hours away. It's going to be a big hit for me. I'm not going to lie, but I am switching the mindset on it. I'm staying here with my oldest grandson instead of following. And we are going to make a road trip once a month and have an adventure and go there and see them, or they're going to be coming here once a month, whatever it be. So that's going to be a big open door for more time, honestly. Where I'm employed at now, I really enjoy my job because of the social part. I'm a hostess. You should laugh at
Shocker.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was the Walmart greeter here from about month one, as you called me. I like it there. It's not what I want to do for a living by any means. Never in a million years did I ever think I would say, I want to do something with what I learned here, but I want to do something with what I learned here.
You were talking about the big idea, and again, that's in our Cleveland book, and those 4 big ideas are pretty simple. I don't have to use. I can do anything I want in sobriety. I'm not going to get a free pass from life's hardships.
Yep.
As long as I make a choice not to use to deal with those hardships, things will continue to be good, and you're an example of that. With respect to, I think, utilizing your gifts in service to others with working here, you don't have to let any other hardship hinder what you want to do here. A living situation, a car, or whatever. It's like, if this is what you want to do, then you can choose to do that. And
I
sorry.
will.
Yeah.
I know I interrupt all the time.
No,
I
it's okay.
apologize.
You're good.
I will, and choice is a word that I use all the time now. It's another thing that just has completely changed the way I live. Choice in everything. If you know something in your life and you keep it the way that it is, then you chose it. Plain and simple. That's all there is to it.
Agreed. I just had a conversation with Adam yesterday on yet another housing project where we keep trying hardship after hardship after hardship, and we keep going. God, these phrases that we say here are so evident in everything that we do that's applicable to all of us, but we're working on it. Yeah. Anything else you want to share? Anything you want to ask that can lead to more conversations? Are you getting out of this what you wanted to get across today?
I think so. Because it's just comfortable conversation. Yeah. I'm not really great with the camera, but I have, for some reason, and I don't know the exact reason, always been comfortable talking with you. For whatever reason, you make everybody comfortable, or I just have been comfortable with you. I don't know if it's an age thing. I don't know if it's the grandma thing. I don't know if it's the family thing. I don't know what it is. I feel comfortable. And I've grown to feel that way with everybody here. They make me feel comfortable. It's funny because Adam will say every now and then, hey, I need to talk to you. But it's a good thing, because I used to be like, oh, gosh, oh, no, blah, blah, blah. Because gosh knows I wasn't perfect when I got here. Gosh knows I'm known as the cat lady for having snuck cats in a few times here, too.
Off the record, I condone that.
Yeah. So I'm so comfortable here now. When I did my first live up there, and you sat next to me, and that was the condition, that I would never do my first live, running the first live, unless you sat next to me. So what did you do? You said, I'll be there in 2 weeks, and we did it. I always, for a long time, have felt good here. I've just felt comfortable here. When I did the first live, I knew it was home. I knew it was home.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you're doing them for the next 3 weeks, too. Let's talk about that. Like, how I go back to when you said that. Todd, I'm going to be up there someday. And I remember I probably said something to the effect of, I know, and I'll be here, whatever, when you do it, because I know that's possible. Now that that's a reality for you, what are those meetings that you're now facilitating? What are they doing for you?
My favorite way and my first one went, in my opinion, very well, and was told that it went well by other people. What I enjoy is like the old-fashioned meetings that you did. I just throw something out there, and when it runs by itself, and I don't have to talk much, and there's lots of hands, and they start to share things, and they talk to each other, that's what live's supposed to be about. And my first one was like that. I just did one a few weeks ago that was the same type of a way. I threw a topic out, and it went a different spin than I thought it was going to be, and I sat back and just watched it. And that anyone out in that room or out watching us gets something out of that it changes their mindset, that it brings them here, that it makes them make a change in their life or a different choice, means everything to me.
That's beautiful. How can you help me be better at running those meetings? Like, what have you learned by watching them that you're now doing that you think I could do better at?
You should be kinder on yourself, because everybody screws up. You mess up once or twice in every meeting, and it's not a big deal. I don't think there should be some big rules to how it goes. As long as we get it in there in that 45 minutes or an hour, then we're good. So you should be kinder to yourself. I don't know that there's anything that you should change. Bottom line is, those Thursday night live meetings 7 years ago is why I'm here.
I still can't believe that after all these years, I'm like, dude, you've been doing this for 24 years. Follow the guidelines in front of you. You guys we've changed some things. I think that's what's messing me up a little bit. And all kidding aside, when you're sitting up there, and Jeff, who's been to my left for quite a few of those, and you're sitting to the right, I'm like, wow, I get to live out everything I wanted to do with these things. Or when I started this, it's like people that come in, they can utilize what this is intended for the right way, do it, improve their lives, and then come up and be a part of giving it back. It's great. Even when you read the announcements, how you read the announcements just comes from all the things that a Walmart greeter should have: care, compassion, empathy, kindness, the delivery in there. It's just great. And I'm thankful that you're helping me do those when I'm not there, because I know it's being done the way that I want them to be done.
And I appreciate that you trust me doing that. And I think with the announcements, it's because I've been to everything that I've announced there, and I've gotten something out of every single one of those. The women's group, from starting out to learning from some great people that ran those, the auditory that was here. I used to go to her evening IOPs, additional to the morning, just because I wanted to. Lindsay took over the women's group. I learned so much from Lindsay about the women's group, similar to the live. Throw a topic out there and let it go. It ain't about you telling your whole story all the time. It's about letting people connect out there. The women's group, I got a lot out of the women's support groups on Tuesday nights here. Book studies, love book studies. I think that different opinions that people share during book studies, if you're open-minded, you learn more, no matter how many times you may have read the book. Obviously, the Saturday nights, I've already shared that, and Sundays, the family times when people come here. Those are amazing. The Thursday Night Lives, like I said, brought me here. I've been to BAC a couple of times. It's a very open, caring place. Herbster always makes you feel at home there. And the Run Walk meetings on Sunday, out in the nature, like we talked about, that is something that's just absolutely comforting. And a lot of people there, like I always say, that have a lot of sober time. And it's open discussions, just like a live meeting, but it's at the park. So I've been to all of them. So when I announce them, I really hope that people will maybe partake in some of them and get what I got out of them. So maybe that's why I feel it so much.
So if you don't have any other questions or comments, I want to ask you, and I want a one-word answer.
Okay.
Give people a word that would describe the depths of your alcohol usage. What would that be?
Despair.
Give everybody a one-word description of how you feel today since, how do I want to say, choosing to better yourself.
Empowered.
That's awesome. Kelly, good stuff. Keep going.
Thanks.
Watch this episode and share it with everybody. Family, friends. If you heard this the way it was meant to be heard, you can see so many facets of what Racing for Recovery does and how awesome Kelly is doing. Until next time, check out the other podcasts and all the other things on our YouTube page, and we'll see you here at the facility soon.